Good morning, it's Maria from the MyFOXLA newsroom here in Los Angeles, and look who stopped by the Hangout. It's Michonne, the gorgeous Danai Gurira from the new season of Walking Dead. I know you are so excited to talk to her. If you're watching on air, please make sure you plus us and comment. If you have a question, I'm going to look over to see and let me know what they are, and I will get them to Danai and tag me or anyone in the Hangout, okay, and we'll get them to her. Let me introduce to everybody here really quickly. We've got Trev. He's hanging out with us from Yorkshire. He's in the UK.
Hey, Trev.
Kyle is in Milwaukee.
Hey, Kyle.
Kim is in Kansas City.
Hey, Kim.
Hello. In Calgary, Canada.
Wow, hey.
Justin is in the UK as well. He's in Brighton.
Hi.
Diano is in Reno.
Nice.
And we've got Ayub, who is also in England.
Cool.
And Anthony, who is joining us from Sacramento.
Awesome. Hey, guys.
Hi there.
So you guys are, most of you are Walking Dead, fans. So especially Diano, and they have a ton of questions. They have a ton of questions for you, so I'm going to turn it over to them, and I'll interject here and there. Okay, so Diano, you have the first one.
The first one, you'd be lucky if I don't take all of them. Oh man, how to start this? First off, it's a pleasure meeting you. Michonne's character has been one that Walking Dead fans have been waiting to see on screen pretty much since The Walking Dead was announced. Did you know going into this is like how big of a role Michonne was and how big of a fan base she had?
I learned along the way. As I started to research, as I was doing the audition process, I was like, okay, people are anticipating this character a lot. They're like betting on who's gonna be her, and no one's mentioned me in this. Go for it anyway. And so yeah, I got I caught up really fast, and it was actually really cool, to step into this role of this woman who was so loved. She was an entity to herself, and she was so original to me and fascinating. So it's been cool to learn about how much she's loved.
Did you have to do any special training before even the audition process, or like did you try to get swords and all that kind of stuff, fighting?
No, they did really inquire deeply about your athletic ability, and then they kind of trusted from there after they decided who the right person for the role was, that they could you could train accordingly, which I promptly commenced to do.
Well, you seem very athletic anyway. No,
well,
so
I thought I was until I started training with that thing, because I was like, oh, this is another.
How heavy is that sword, and how long did it take you to start really feeling comfortable with it?
It is pretty heavy, and it took a little while. I mean, it was just very intense training. I had like 6 weeks really before we shot the first thing, so it was very intense. But it, because it was just every single day and just such consistent training, by like week 3 or so, somewhere around there, it just started to feel a bit more natural in my hands, and just it just grew from there. And then you really start to work with it, and then it actually feels amazing. Initially, it's just pain, but then it's like, oh, this is really, really, really cool.
I don't want to miss out on anyone else's questions, so if you have one, get my attention and I'll go to you, okay? Because I know Diano has a bunch. Kempton.
Can I try to?
Go ahead.
So, Danai, you're trained classically. You got your MFA from New York University. So, during your training, when you were training, did you ever thought that you'd be in a hit show like Walking Dead and kicking ass?
I actually really didn't. It's true. You train. Tish is also very artsy, snobby in that way. It's like you're gonna go and do Shakespeare and and do a lot of things like that, create plays and things like that, which thankfully I've been able to do. But I actually, when I left school, it's actually when I started to think, I really would love to do something action-y. I would love to get out there and, do some stuff and kick and punch and do something, Yeah, I really kind of started to get that sort of urge right after grad school. And so I wanted it. I didn't know where or when it would come from. And it was kind of that thing you want, but you never really think about actively. And so when she came around, I was like, wow, I've actually wanted this for a long time. So it's actually very cool.
Anthony, yes, go ahead. What's your question?
It was just moving. Yeah, it says
yes, go. Okay. Now, when I hear you talk, you have this very elegant, kind of almost mid-Atlantic. But you grew up here in was it Iowa? Where did I read that you grew up?
I was born in the Midwest. I was born in Grinnell, Iowa, but I was actually raised in Zimbabwe.
You were raised in Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
So all my formative years were there.
How did you come to choose acting as a profession, and how did your family feel about that when you told them that's where you were going?
Well, thankfully, my parents are both academics, so they're kind of, and they're from like, the sort of liberal arts education system of the United States. That's where they were, trained and went to school. So they kind of love the idea of really pursuing what you love. And that's really been a good thing for us as all of us kids, because we just pursued what we loved. We didn't feel we had to do what they said, because they were like, just do what you love and get some degrees, because we have degrees, so you better get
you can always teach.
That's all we want. Do what you love, but you better have something on the wall that says you can do it. But basically it was really when I was kind of like in high school in Zimbabwe, I just started to get involved in the theater group here, theater group there, and then school I started to do stuff, and my school was very theatrically active, and just grew from there, really.
I am still amazed. I know that you have a question, Ayub, and I'll get to that, but how do you go from the Midwest to Zimbabwe? Obviously your parents are from there.
My parents are from there. They were here right through from, they came here for college, and then they proceeded to get their master's. My father got his PhD, and then they were my father was a professor in the Midwest in Iowa, and then Zimbabwe gained independence, and a lot of Zimbabweans who had been abroad getting education, and Zimbabwe was in a war, they all wanted to go back and build a new country. And so they went back and took their families back. I grew up around a lot of families like my own whose parents we'd all been born in the US or in Canada or in Australia or in Britain, and they all had come back to kind of help rebuild the new country.
Interesting. Ayub, yes, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, I noticed that you're also a writer as well as an actor. I was just wondering whether you're going to be able to do some of the writing on Walking Dead as well, or
I wasn't hired to do that. I was hired to be Michonne, but I write plays, and so I am slowly starting to transition into writing for the screen. But it's a process, So it's not something that's on my list of, this is what I'm doing next. I'm writing for Walking Dead. I mean, if they asked me to, it would be interesting and fun. I think it's going to take a while before I'm even comfortable to do that, but it's an interesting thought.
Kim, yes, go
Speaking
ahead.
of writing, I'll have a question directly related to that.
Okay, go ahead, Kim. After you, then we'll go to Diana.
Okay, first of all, I've never watched a single show of Walking Dead, so I'm coming from the standpoint. I'm coming from the standpoint of what are some things that I should look out for when I'm watching this show, because I thought it was about zombies and that was it, but my mindset has been changed. So what are some things that I should be, I guess, to get into the show, to really understand the show? What are some things that I should look out for?
Just watch season 1, season 2, and then you will be hooked onto season 3. That's all you need to do. I mean, honestly, I didn't even want to watch it before I got the audition. I'm a scaredy cat. I was like, I don't want to watch zombies. Yeah. I'm not interested. But then I had to, get ready for the audition, so I had to watch it. After the pilot alone, I was so sucked in. It's such beautiful storytelling. It's not just about zombies. It's about these people in the most dire circumstance. To me, it felt like a war zone. It felt like something very immediate and current. It didn't feel so like out of this world, because it was so about who do you become when things get this dire. And so to me, it was more like a Lord of the Flies type of story. This idea, like what happens to your humanity? Does it go good? Does it go bad? And that's so what it's about. It tells an epic story, and then it goes micro, in this beautiful ways. So really, I would say just watch those first 2 seasons and you'll be hooked. That's all you need.
Diana, go ahead. What's your question?
Before I even ask this question, I'm coming from a hardcore fan of The Walking Dead, so understand that. I criticize because I love. The females on the show thus far, particularly in season 2, weren't altogether, in my opinion, all that well written. You had Andrea, which had all sorts of mood swings, and Laurie's character, who seemed to change her mind more on issues than Mitt Romney does. For your role as reading the scripts that you have so far, how do you feel that Michonne comes off on screen? Because from the pilot, from the season premiere, oh yeah, they nailed it. But just going on from there, how do you feel they're doing with Michonne's character based on what you know?
I think it's been going great. I think what's really interesting is she's not exactly the same as the comic book, but she can't be. You know what I mean? Like she has to kind of be synthesized through the screen in her own way. But she is so the essence of what's in the comic book at the same time. But the thing that I think is great is that there's a complexity to her, but there's a mystery to her, and it's going to take a while for you to see her full self. You know what I mean? Like she's what I tend to say is that there's a becoming that happens to Michonne over the course of this season. So it's like you really have to watch all the episodes to really feel her out. But I think when she does, she's just not the chick who's going to let you know everything about her right off the bat. It's just not going to happen that way. So you're going to get little bit here and there. But I like the way she's come together. I think throughout, when you look at the end of the season from the beginning, I think it's a beautiful arc and culmination that they've created.
Kyle, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Danai, pleasure to meet you. Huge Walking Dead fan. Really excited to see you in season 3 this year. But what do your friends and family think about you just being this like awesome woman with a sword chopping off heads of zombies on screen?
They're cool. I mean, I've always been...
Do they watch it? Do they see
they watched it. My parents watched it for the first time last night. My sister watched it for the first time all of this weekend. She watched the entire marathon. My brother's always been watching it, so he was all good. They love it. They know that, Danai's always been a bit, different. She's always been like the creative odd one. You just go with it. She'll be fine, And so they said they used to watch me imitate Alexis Colby in my backyard when I was like, 12 or 5 or 7 or something, and they were like, either she's crazy or she's going to be an actor, So they've always known me to be a little off. So they're like, this is right up her alley. So they're thrilled.
Alexis Colby, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to get to you, Trev, but Justin, yes, what's your question?
Yeah, when the real zombie apocalypse comes, do you think you've learnt enough from the show to get you through the real thing?
I love it. I always get the most pod questions from the Brits. I do.
Ouch!
No, it's not an ouch. It's an original question. No, it's I'm Zimbabwean, so we have a great relationship, us and the Brits. We could just jab each other all day. But yeah, no, I think I have. I think she's taught me. There's no reason to panic. You are actually the higher life form, so do not be scared of zombies. All they can do, they are brainless, and you are not. And that's something that she's really taught me. There's always a way to strategize and think 5 steps ahead, and you will always be ahead of zombies.
That sounds just like trying to go shopping in general, really.
Hey, Trav, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, you said you're a scaredy cat. I presume that means that you don't like horror films and things like that. Do you ever get scared on set? I mean, like, for example, on Halloween sometimes there are some really good costumes. You're like, whoa, and it freaks you out a little bit at night. Do you ever get that when you're sort of surrounded by zombies? And it's...
No. Because, I really learned kind of early on, even before I fully auditioned, when I was watching the show, I was like, when I first watched it, I was like, okay, that was scary, but they can't unlock doors and they can't climb into windows that are closed. So I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go to bed tonight. I got over the zombie fear so early on that by the time I was like, man, I know I can take you all.
As an actress, though, I'm wondering about your approach to the character and the zombies. Like, do you think of them as, because you have 2 pets in the show. Like,
right.
How do you, I guess, do you think of them as dogs, literally, or how do you do that in the mind?
I think it's a very interesting adjustment. What happens with something like this, if you really think it through, which of course as the characters we have to do, going through an apocalypse like that, if it were to occur where literally you lose touch with everybody, you lose your family, you watch people eat each other, like that type of trauma is it's going to recreate you, and you're all going to have some form of PTSD, really. And so the question is, I think what Michonne has found is she's found a way to recreate herself and to adjust and adapt to the realities of this world. So at times she's like, these things are threats, and they are, they are things, these are not people anymore, and it's actually better for them to, be put down or something like that, because they're not people anymore. And I think there are times when the fact that they are not people, but they are people, can get to her. But I think for the most part, she's way too pragmatic to let that really affect her too much. So she's actually going to like focus on this is what they are right now and how do I function in this world. Using them as deterrent, having them there as her pets is actually a very, very intelligent move. It's really smart, actually. They deter each other. If you're around them, they don't think you're one of them. So, you know, and cutting off their jaws and their arms. It's insanely smart. And that's Michonne. She's adapted.
Got to watch a show. Okay, who's gonna have Kempton? Go ahead. Who's gonna have the last question? But you go.
So the last question: how is it like working with the showrunner Glenn Mazara, and he's the writer too? I think are there a lot of give and take, or you basically follow their script very, very down to the word?
You know, the beauty of working on the show, and I've learned that, you know, I've never worked on a TV show this much, so I learned that this is very unusual, is that they are collaborative. And you can actually, that's the beauty of Glenn Mazzara. He's an amazing showrunner because he actually allows you to have input. And if you get a script and you have a discussion with him, he can adjust things accordingly and say, this is what's going through her right now because, you know, I'm in her, she's in me. And you share that and you discuss things through and things can get adjusted accordingly. And that's happened a lot. You know, and the beauty of that is that it allows really, I think it allows the show to even have a higher level of, you know, of just great visceral drama because there's been such a collaboration before it gets onto the screen. So I love working with them. I know it's actually really unusual to have that level of collaboration. So I'm really grateful to be a part of this show.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you for
Thanks,
hanging
guys.
out with us. Great question.
Yeah,
and
great question.
Walking Dead on Sunday nights.
Yes.
And you guys know the station, right? It's
Yes, AMC. If you have Dish, you're out of luck, but you can watch it on AMC.
Aww.
No. All right, you guys, will you take a quick photo of me and Michonne? I mean, Danai.
Thank you very much for joining us. I am looking forward to kick all kinds of ass on the show.
Thank you. Dayano does like Geeks of the Round, and
it rocks.
They totally break it down, the Walking Dead episode, and they do it tonight on Google Plus. So hopefully you can get on G Plus.
Absolutely, I'll check that out.
Yeah, you guys, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.